Okie dokie. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, or should I say good morning to Canada? All right. Okay, we will be starting in a couple of minutes. Let's wait for some more people to join us. Um, Hello, just a second. Hello, Fatima, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm okay. How about you?
That's great. Yeah, I think you need to speak louder, maybe. Yeah, the voice is
I'm
not
not
coming.
audible enough? Sorry.
Yeah, loud enough. Probably microphone or maybe earphones would be great.
Okay, let me see. Well, earphones, I can't connect now, but I have microphone. Is it audible enough?
That would be great. Yeah.
So can you hear me now?
Yeah, I think we can hear you well. Okay, good evening once again. We will be starting, as I said, in a couple of minutes. But before that, I made a very quick informal poll. So it would be great if you guys start voting in the polls. It's just info, just for statistics. So okay, so we've got a couple of people from, well, lots of people from Tashkent. We have one person from Bukhara, by the way. Fatima
Okay.
Fatima is from Bukhara as well.
I think it's me who voted for that.
Oh, okay, that's good. So lots of people from Telegram. That's great. So Telegram apparently works. Got one person from Facebook, and so a couple of from Instagram. Fantastic.
From side? Come on. Sorry,
Okay.
just a minute.
And by the way, we are also live on YouTube. So maybe you can also see us on YouTube. We have the channel on YouTube. Maybe later you can find this webinar if you want to see or maybe share. It's up to you really. We have still some more people joining us, so let's wait for a couple of more minutes and then we will be starting. By the way, well, unfortunately, we actually didn't manage to talk with Fatima before the webinar, so it's more like it's happening.
Well, it's about punctuality of your former employee, right?
Yeah.
It speaks about me more.
Typical of Fatima, nothing new here. Okay.
You know, even you change your location, you can't change your personality, that's for sure.
Well,
But
yeah.
I'm trying hard. I'm pulling out all my sources. I'm doing my best, but still keeping on failing.
I'm sure you are doing your best. So yeah, so things will happen quite spontaneously, and so we don't have any program prepared beforehand. But basically, all of your microphones are switched off. If you would like to ask a question, or if you'd like to kind of raise, I mean, just ask something, you can always raise your hand, or you can text message in the chat section. So the chat is open as well. So it would be great. And at the end of the webinar, when we have the Q&A session, if you raise your hand or if you write on the chat, I can actually switch on your microphone. So you actually can send the voice message. That would be something more comfortable. Otherwise, we'll have lots of noise in the background. Okay, so great. We see some more people joining us. FDR, Delora, Big Sot. Okay, Amira, we have Abroad John. I see we have lots of our colleagues and our workers are here as well. Lobar, nice to see you. We have, okay, Sivara, Nicora, Nargis, and we have some participants from the King's Academy Online Speaking Club. By the way, Fatima, are you aware of this?
I guess so. right now. I found about that.
Okay. So we are actually trying to have some online speaking club. It's going pretty well.
That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. And what time is it now in Canada? What time is Ontario? Is it Ontario now?
It's 11 a.m. It's Cambridge, Ontario, right?
Yeah, sorry for making you to wake early at 11. Okay, now we can maybe start slowly.
Okay.
So would you first, now let me introduce you first, maybe those who don't know about you. Basically,
well, I can do this part, so I have that ready, so not to take your time. So is it okay if I share the screen and start?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you. So hi guys, hello to everyone. Thank you. Hi. Thank you for squeezing time between and joining to this webinar. So as it's predefined in our posters, we want to light you up about life in Canada, whether you're considering immigration options or study options here, but you should have like overview, a picture of the life and how to start, how to settle down, because everything is not that plain sailing and somehow complicated. And the most striking part is the pace a bit slower here. Like to organize everything, you should go different procedures. It's like somehow bureaucracy, paperwork. So in order to save your time, I guess you should start preparation from before moving here and having the basic view and understanding what you should start on. And today I'll give you guidelines how to start, what to do, and what to expect once you come here. Don't expect this as a professional lawyer or counseling services advice, but it's just basically based on my personal experience. So you can have in your list to know what to follow. So let me move to the first screen to share with you. Okay. So my name is Fatima. I'd like to highlight here the most turning points of my life stage. It all started with the Aston University. So I've been a postgraduate of TESOL of the United Kingdom. And what I mean by turning point is the like best accolade if you want to consider your chance to work or study abroad, because UK, including that Aston University, has the highest credentials that could be confirmed if you want to continue your PhD, to pursue your studies and work there. I worked as a MA teacher as pragmatics at Uzbek State World Language University. So here you can see the King's Academy logo. So because I've been employee of the King's Academy, one of the best language schools so far. I'm not endorsing because I know the people there or colleagues. It's because the environment's so dynamic. Like students are so ambitious, they are determined, they have goals, they know what to do. Not like demotivated that you should push them, make them study. So they know what to expect and how to act for their goals. This is what I like about this school. And so far I have good bonding and connecting with my previous students who studied here and continuing their life, progressing to academic career and advancement. Currently, since I moved to Cambridge, Ontario, I started working as online facilitator at STEM Montessori Academy of Canada. So Montessori is the new approach of education, like rather than based on regurgitation or rote learning or lecturing. It's like surrounding your students with that environment so they can learn. For example, if our lesson is about social life of Canada, we try to organize it at Service Ontario, so where students can go, see the process itself, and then learn on spot. But because of these like lockdown issues and you know that about COVID-19 pandemic, that you cannot organize this process, so we are doing online. not theoretically still, that we are discussing the posting everything through the online so they could understand. And currently I'm working as volunteer teacher for YMCA. It's like a ESL instructor for immigrants to move to Canada, and basic guidelines for newcomers how to start their life in Canada. YMCA, it's an abbreviation that stands for Youth Organization that headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland, but you can find the main franchise of this organization in all European countries, including UK, and it's spread to Northern America too, specifically Canada. So where you can learn everything for free, whether it's the coding classes, whether it's like profile, brand, personal branding, whether it's learning language like English or French or Mandarin or tech skills, or finding the jobs, or any advice about accommodation, taxes, so how to settle your life in Canada, or just the entertainment like gym, membership, everything is for free. This is like the best opportunity for newcomers to start to learn about Canadian life. So once you use their service, it's good, but you feel that responsibility, so you should put your investment into that too. So this is the main reason why I decided to work as a volunteer. So basically you can afford the time. It's only 6 hours per month. So, but what I like about the chance is like you can expand your social networking. And as usual, in everywhere, social networking is essential components, because people help you to endorse your skills, people help you to know about the vacancies, job opportunities, or what to follow. And of course, you won't have that monotonous life if you have different people from different backgrounds. Can you hear me well, by the way? Is it audible enough? I'm not speaking fast because sometimes I tend to be monotonous and
yes,
slow.
We can hear you, yeah.
Okay, thank you. So before moving to, I tend to have long intro, as I noticed. Before moving to, I'd like just to test how well you're aware about Canadian culture. So here are the most symbolic icons of Canada that represent the whole country and cultural mindset that ingrained in these pictures. I'd like you to name them in the chat. So if you know, if you're aware of them, and you can start typing here. And I'd like to share the quick Google form so I could understand how well you know about Canada and what I should speak about more. So let me see. Can I share it in the okay, chat section?
I'm not even sure if I spelled it correctly. Like
which one?
Hockey.
Okay, let me see.
Okay.
I can share that form. Sorry. Something's going on. Sorry. Can I see the chat part? Mm-hmm. Good, great. Mm-hmm. Is the link clickable for you? That you Can you get to that 4? Pancakes, COVID-19, nature, great. Alk, freeze yourself, education system. Yeah, one of the most misconception and that highly accepted stereotype about Canada is that like it's crazy cold, freezing one, but that's not true because Canada is, you know, the second largest country and the regions are different. For example, the area I live, Ontario, is not that cold. Like the Newfoundland or Saskatchewan that they always try to cover in the media, speaking about the harsh colds. No, sorry. Guys, can you try the 4 one more time? So these are my, I guess I shared it correctly. Okay, cut there. Sure. So after like speaking about these main basic stuff that you need to follow, I will speak about the chances, how to come here, how to study, and what you can expect. But till that, I'd like you to click that 4 and answer the basic questions, just like survival English that most frequently use the words that you didn't have in your standard books or in your British or American English that you were conversing with your friends. This is typical Canadian discourse, so you can understand. Link not found. Can you try one more time? Would you like me to share it in the main screen, or can you click it now? Okay, so can you see my screen, by the way? Sorry for too many pauses. Okay, let's start. So maple syrup, you were right. It's one of the glorious phenomena of Canada, and Canadians are so proud of that. This is so sweet, liquid type, but less dense than honey, and they drizzle it over everything, including waffles, pancakes, as you can see in this picture. And thus it became the symbolic, and if you pay attention to the flag of Canada, you can see that maple leaf. Timmy's or Tim Hortons, it's like Canadian version of the Starbucks, but the Tim Hortons is not only that coffee spot that you can drop by, it's also about cultural hub where people gather around together, discuss, and most of the gatherings occur there. So you can see the scenic views of the Canadian nature. This is the moose, symbolic animal. So they represent the wildlife of Canada. And you can see the people in that celebrational ceremonies or occasions wearing those caps. Beaver, one of the most cherished animals in Canada, because it's not only found on this land, Northern America, but it also has historic impacts, like being the tools of the trade. And beavers somehow represent the personality of the Canadians. They say, like, even we are big enough, we don't let it to go our heads, showing that they are polite every time, they respect diversity, they respect different cultures. Unlike the US, the culture here is not the melting pot, like everyone trying to melt into the fabric of uniform culture, like trying to be American and be the part of the society. Here, everyone tries to maintain their cultural uniqueness, traditions. So you can see that even in Canada, like Chinese, Afghani, Pakistani people, or Uzbek or Russian community, the same traditions, the same aspects of their life are continuing. So nothing has changed except the location. This is, yeah, uniform. It's actually Royal Police Force. They're called Mounties. And okay, it's the, I can say, lifeblood of Canadians. They're really obsessed with the hockey. They're proud of that. And yeah, that describes the culture. So let's continue. The reason why you need to move to Canada. I'd like to describe it with the memes. 3 oceans, 31K lakes, 24 grand coastline, one amazing country. Yeah, the best motive to move here is the scenic view. Whenever you have the scenic drive, you'll see mesmerizing view of the landscape, nature, the beach, the lakes. So people somehow tend to be outdoorsy here because there's a lot of spots to spend your time. As you can see, the grade 3 girl writing the letter, welcome home to newcomers. Yeah, the most striking point when I came here, I had it at the airport during the layover from Montreal to Toronto, when I was interviewed and granted entry with the PR status. PR stands for permanent residency. And instead of welcome to Canada, the lady said like, welcome home. And it makes sense. It feels like home. You don't feel that like someone's supremacy here, like white supremacy. You don't feel that discrimination. They try to help you about everything. They are polite enough. And even for job or working opportunities, it's the way who you are, what can you do speaks about more rather than your credentials or what country you are from. So basically, this is the why Canada earned the title of being one of the best countries in the world. It's because of diversity included, but you can maintain your own culture, but you can achieve your goals if you want it. So basic toponymic names that you should know. It's like part of the survival English here. Whenever you need that hardware regarding your home construction, this is Home Depots. They're quite famous, and you can find this franchise everywhere in this region. It's kind of uniform building. If you want to buy something that regarding your vehicles, you directly go to Canadian Tire. By the way, the importance of vehicle transport, having your own car is so essential. It's like basic important. It's not a luxury because public transport is so expensive, and in order to save your nerves, time and money, you should at least rent, lease, or there are pretty many car loan programs for newcomers that waive the first or second year interest rate, so you can afford a car and start your journey through the life. Costco, one of the biggest hypermarkets, like it's kind of where you can buy everything in bulk. IKEA about the furniture, the most practical ones. Dollarama, if you have been to the UK, there's the Poundland where you can buy everything for £1. Same applies to Dollarama. Everything is for $1. You can find any stuff. Usually it's like about trivial necessities you can buy. Rogers and Bell is one of the biggest telephone network communications. So if you want to buy your SIM card, the high quality stuff, you can choose these ones. Shoppers Drug Mart is about perfumes and usually drug. So you can find drugstores here. Either you can find in Shoppers that are called over-the-counter pills, or it should be prescribed by doctors, but you can't find the pharmacies without having direction from your doctor. There are only walk-in clinics, or you can go to the Shoppers to have your stuff. And another iconic view of the Canada is, of course, Niagara Falls. Both Americans and Canadians are really proud of having this spot, but well, it deserves the prize because this is one of the great miraculous natural wonder. and the first tourist card. The first reason you should travel to Canada. You can see here Niagara Falls. It's actually basically different falls assembled in one province, Niagara. And this one is Horseshoe Falls, Canadian side, and this one is American side. You can see the bridge is a border between US and Canada that you can pass. You know, the Canadian passport is one of the best passports in the world, ranked 9th, that you don't need to have visa to travel around the world, except some few countries. But because of having PR status, I need, I guess, US visa to cross to that New York destination. Memes play essential role for learning about the culture of the Canadians. Even in that assignments for our students, we ask them sometimes to design memes to show that what they can understand, what not about Canada. So here you can see the Great Britain once dominated. This meme represents that Canada is basically first based on culture, political system, language system, everything looks like British. However, that highly influence of Americans. Basically, most business opportunities, job opportunities are Americanized. So these memes represent them more, but they do highlight and endorse the politeness of the Canadian nature. Here you can see Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. These memes basically represent that the government of the Trudeau has something new and different, distinct from other authorities in every holiday of every nation, like whether it's Hanukkah of Jews or Nowruz for Muslims or Easter for Christians. He comes to the spot to congratulate and to express good wish for people who are going to commemorate and celebrate this occasion. So you can see him in different costumes. It's like cherishing their cultural diversity. The main sports, as you can see, I mentioned Tim Hortons. This is the Rogers Stadium, one of the biggest one, YMCA, and Toronto. Toronto is actually the most expensive city, preceding the New York, by the way, in terms of cost of living, accommodation, but it's most multicultural, diverse city too, as long as dynamic. So because there are more than 51 nations who are currently maintaining life here and 140 languages that are spoken in Toronto. So if you know English still, you have like at least a month or 2 months to adapt to the slang of only can be understood in Toronto. It's because of that every nation came with their input to that language. Drake, you know the singer, right? So he's from actually Toronto, and people are proud of to name him. And he's the one of the main figure you can find in that memes. So because of Drake's one of the song, that Toronto is called the Six. And can you understand that what does meme says? When you buy your friend Teams and they win something from Roll Up the Rim. Team stands for Tim Hortons, and Roll Up the Rim is like winning the lottery part. So learning the culture starts with the memes. You can watch them. Biggest right in Canadian history, it's because Canadian people are so quiet and polite. But it doesn't mean that everything is so great, perfect, ideal here. The first distinct and challenge for me was about the taxation system. Taxing principles in Canada. So basically you pay taxes for everything. Even they say like healthcare is free, but indirectly you're paying through your every purchase. You shouldn't get surprised why 10 or 20% you are paying extra, because you're paying the taxes for the government. And it's not for the accountants or bookkeepers who try to make it for you. It's you who file the tax at the end of the year. And if you need help for students, actually, they will help with free online tax calculators, so you can pay the taxes. So even you're a student whether you're saying that I'm not permanent here, I'm temporary, still you should know about the taxation principle, because taxing is an important part. If you neglect this area, there might be problems regarding your studies and accommodation here. Canada is cold, so you can see this meme. They're just trying to describe how cold is that. But usually it's more northern areas of Canada. You can find high density of that snow. So I spoke about that Toronto. Toronto is like paradise for natural freaks and outdoors. There are lots of lakes that you can go and spend the time. It's about diversity. It's their DNA. So lots of people, lots of nations, and thus these pull out different options and business opportunities. You can thrive, you can learn, but if you have systematic business plan for that. People are polite, and usually I'm asked about the questions, how is the life in Canada? How to start, how to sustain? I want to find a job. And usually they are like really surprised and amused the fact that you can earn $2,000 per month. This is actually minimum wage. The cost, life expenses is too high. You can see that one person without rent is paying around $1,000. It's excluding the rental fee that you should pay for accommodation. So basically, one person per year have expenses of 12,000. It's when you try to cut down on expenses and trying to make the ends meet. So students who have their like more priorities, discounts in all services, including groceries, still their expense for a month might be around $900. So before moving, always the first thing the newcomers to do is calculating their expenses, incomes, and having the strategic financial plan. But if you once pave your way for a better job opportunities, it's good because this is the rewarding financially. You can see that the average salary for the most required professions like cashier that starts with the minimum salary. It's 21K per year. So here, unlike us, it's not monthly payment that is considered. They speak about per year. It's excluding the taxes you are going to pay. Like the professions, why I chose this table, I share the source later. You can find all the statistics there. Copywriter, graphic designer, mobile developer, software engineer. That doesn't require your accolades to graduate from prestigious university. You can finish at boot camps like intensive training course or short-term courses to have understanding. What is important is your portfolio. What can you create? What have you done so far? Therefore, the basic reason why you should volunteer or start your working if you want to settle abroad or to move abroad, start creating. So you could showcase your skills. What can you done? What can you make? Okay. Teachers can earn $40,000 per year, but they should have at least PhD degree for that. Basic 3 documents you should have is health card. As I mentioned, free healthcare system, but you need to have the health card. For health card, they require 3 types of documents. Your student card, or something that proves your immigration status. Residency in Ontario, it can be your driving license, or you can open a bank statement for that. And the proof identity, your passport, your birth card, marriage certificate, anything. So ID PR card is like permanent residency card, and student card, if you want to study, you'll have your card there. Driving license, it's important. I told you the importance of the vehicle to communicate, right? So driving license, basically, I recommend you to have your driving license in your home country with the international status, so you can nostrificate there, because here it's a bit slower, the whole process. I mean, it starts with the G1, the theory and road test, and then you proceed by G to road test and G1. G1 means like you can drive the car, but you need to carpooling. Someone who has the experience for 5 years at least can accompany you. G2 is like more professional level, and G, you can drive in highway. By the way, 401 stands for highway, the number. If you want to work here, you need to have work permit, and that's called CIN, or social insurance number. Basically, it means Service Ontario have your PR card and give you special number. This number represents you as the person who is working, paying taxes, and compiling his history here. So this is called CIN. But you should be aware of phishing, scamming here, because lots of people might call, represent themselves as the governmental figure to ask your CIN number, and you shouldn't share, because governmental figures never call you, they just email. So whenever someone asks about CIN, you shouldn't share it. The only exception is when you're applying for a job, and in case this job is governmental, not the private sectors. So how to find the jobs? There are lots of sources. LinkedIn makes you more professional-like and helps you to connect with different networks. Facebook is also, but like if you want to have the instant help and to know the instant vacancies, like Indeed, I do recommend. Indeed is actually US website, but Canadian work also regular posted in this Indeed site. What I like about this site is they regularly announce like whether that job interviewer watched your resume, did they consider you, whether they invite you. So you have the daily notification updates about current vacancies and how your application process is going on. The same about the Glassdoor. Lots of job opportunities, not all of them are about internationally trained professionals. They can be like survival jobs that still you can earn high, like $20 per hour. Well, it depends how well you can create your resume. So how to start everything? It's cyclical, so 3 steps followed. It starts with the CV building or resume. Then you reach the interview, and then trial period per month. If you can live up to their expectations, you can start your job here. But the most important is CV or resume part. Same applies if you're a student applying for university, your cover letters, right? What is difficult about this? You should follow the format. It should be Canadian format requirement, labor market requirement, because this process, CV resume, is not checked by the person. This based on ATS system, like digitally it would be checked. So if computer finds the mistake in the format, or it doesn't match, correlate with the keywords they used in their job description, so your CV would be declined without reaching the HR or person. Keywords means, for example, if in the job description they are saying like, we need an IELTS tutor with 7-year experience, and if in your CV it's written like IELTS teacher with 4 years experience, so you will be automatically declined because it didn't match, it didn't correlate with the requirement of the job description, right? So therefore, there's the special courses, by the way, you can find in Coursera, Edu.org. Later on, I share the links in the chat so you can understand how to build your CV, how to write, what's the formatting about, making it more applicable for the jobs you're going to apply for. Second, finding the jobs is important, but networking works faster. So if you have like acquaintances of different background, social background, and in different expertise, it accelerates your speed. So they will recommend you, they will endorse you, and thus you can connect with them. Volunteership. First, when you move to Canada, everyone ridiculously wants you to have Canadian experience. They don't consider like whether you worked overseas or what did you do. So Canadian experience you can gain only by volunteering before getting the job. So this is important. Volunteering, first of all, you'll brush up your skills. You'll understand what they require to have to do that job successfully, to land this job successfully, actually. And of course, you'll have the friends, you mingle with the community, you expand, you stretch your comfort zone, and you can learn. Interview. After the resume, they will do a phone call and they invite you for an interview. And it doesn't mean that you got a job. It's only just the second phase of landing a job. Phone call is like recruiters. Recruiters is like third party who promise the companies to help them find the personals, employees of this sphere. So they call you, they ask about you, your interests, why you choose that job, why do you think that you're a good fit. So here you should be more relaxed, connecting, and feel free to speak about what you think about that. Of course, do research before having that interview. Like, learn about the company, learn about the job description, learn about the agenda, what they want, and try to pitch your skills for that. For example, if the company says, we need personals who can thrive in dynamic nature, are easy to learn, feasible enough. So you should say like, I'm a quick learner. I like to work with the people. I like to collaborate. So I'm extrovert. So try to pitch your skills so they could see potential candidate in you. And if your phone call is successful enough, they deliver you, transfer you to that HR or hiring managers. Here you can have in-person interviews, and currently, you know that lockdown made everyone to transfer to that video conferences interview. So you'll video interview with them. Here, hiring manager is more specific. Now they start questioning your complacency. They start completing your skills, whether you can do this job. They're like specific questions. If you're like a software developer, they ask about the programs or applications you created. If you're a teacher, they ask like what level of students you taught, what subjects did you teach, and there might be tests for your conflict management. For example, as a teacher, I had a question: if your student just left the classroom without your permission, or there's a parent who is not satisfied with your teaching, how would you act? What would you do? So they try to test how conflict aware you are. How can you make that job peacefully, right? Screening rounds, and the last one is when you're successful in this interview, you'll have background check. They check your work history, and vulnerable check. Vulnerable check means like police check record that if test negative, you shouldn't have any difficulty or any problems, conflict in your history. And the reference, they ask 3 people to endorse your skill, like that you are really fit for this job position. Trial. So for a month you'll work as a trial. They pay for the trial period, but this is about more making good impression on the employer. So you try to invest more time, do your job on time, be punctual, try to mingle with the colleagues, leverage your digital and soft skills. Soft skills stands for the communication skills. How well you can communicate with your colleagues, not only within the jobs, but like beyond that setting. So going out, for example, trying to bond with them, right? And you should be planned enough. Allocate your time and perform feasibly, practically, do everything on time, that they don't have any, they don't cast any doubt about that whether you can cope with this job or not. So as I mentioned, I'm working at STEM Montessori Academy, so I want to show that how it looks like currently our job environment in online. So we use them mostly for academic correspondences or business correspondences, Slack. Here you can see the curriculum for students, learners, starting from age 4 to 12. They all have the same subject, but it's adapted to their level. But what really impressed me high is like the subject collection is pretty versatile here. They can teach French, Mandarin, ESL, English, that I'm currently teaching, Spanish. It's about math, it's about robotics, it's about coding at this age from starting 0, anime, drawing, visual arts, savvy scientists, robotics, everything. The most point that really I got fascinated by is they have the special attention for the girls, like smack SMAC stands for like, there's a special grouping for girls to help them to push to stray their comfort zone and to go to the tech skills, because there's the like high gender parity about the skills, like even in job opportunities, like still men are dominating in technical skills, software engineering and other stuff. If you want to start your grade ESL here, you'll have the basic preliminary assessment. They will ask the questions. What was field of your study? If you're applying for university for filling application, so your native country. So you should, where did you study? What was your major interest? And of course, your documents should be translated. Usually it's done by the site called WS, World Education Service, that not qualifies, but like helps to authorize your documents. It should be but translated in English, the accolades, and it should be notarized. And whether they see that like it matches with the Canadian degree, so they give the equivalency report. So to endorse your credentials or qualifications. They ask about TOEFL or IELTS, but then they need to correlate it with CANTEST. CANTEST stands for Canadian Language Benchmark. And it looks like this. Unlike IELTS, it's not from 1 to 9. Unlike IELTS, it's from 1 to 12. And basically, it's about 3 states. If you get there from 1 to 4, you're considered basic user of English. So you can deal with the common situations like how to greet, what to say, how to deal with your employee, how to converse with your fellows. Stage 2 is intermediate user. Now you're much more fluent enough, but still there's basic misunderstandings. You might use the words wrong. In communication, you might have difficulty. And the stage 3 is advanced language ability. Advanced is like, that's actually equal to IELTS level 9, starting from 8, 8.5, and 9. So you are already fluent user of the English. So you are at the same rate of the native speaker to communicate and deal in that situations. For example, benchmark 7, the one who gets 7 at CLB, what they can manage. In speaking, for example, they can ask getting a raise, day off, a leave of absence from their boss. They can speak about their strengths and weakness at interview situation. Like there's always question, what are your weakness? And here you should be pragmatic enough. For example, if you say like, oh, I'm always late, I have time management problems, this might make wrong impression, but you can make it like more sugar-coated, like I am punctual enough, but sometimes it's challenging for me, but I'm trying to work on this skill. But don't say that like, I don't think I have any weakness, because it makes you more superficial. So try to be more natural, but try to manipulate of your discourse. Like try to emphasize your strength more than your weakness, and cover your weakness with something good. Back it up. Like you can say, I don't know about this fear, but I'm quick learner. So I try to learn, I catch up with easily, and I can work in this environment. For writing, for example, job application form, cover letters. For listening, if you have the CLB 7, it means you can understand any voicemail message. It's so like ubiquitous here. When people cannot reach your phone, they just leave their voicemail message, and you should understand it. You can listen directions and follow them on map. For reading, there's always agenda, the minutes of meeting. Minutes of meeting stands for report, what they have had for this meeting, what the bullet points. So you can read, understand that. Employee benefits package. It stands for example, you are working at the company and they decided to lay off or furlough you. Like you lost your job temporarily for 6 months. They will provide employee benefit package for you. It's called unemployment benefit. Employee benefit package is like your health insurance and other expenses that regarding your work or life expenses that they try to help you to support. how they start to teach the language, what the language teaching atmosphere here as TSL, ESL teachers. First they start to find out the interests, and then they put emphasis on, like, for assessment, you'll have the questions. What do you like to speak about? History, culture, medicine, or general in Canada, or research skill, or social issues. Social issues is like how to find a job, community, how to voting system, everything. And then who would you like to hear? Social worker, psychologist, doctor, financial advisor, because I told you about Montessori, so that it will be on-spot practice. Those people might interact with you, come to the questions, so you can have conversation with them. But in order to understand them, there's the special registers you should understand, like special terminology for doctors, for example, for psychologists, for customer representative or consumer representatives, like we call them just reps, to understand. And of course, what really you think you'll get most of it, like shows, news, educational movies, romantic. I do encourage you to learn the English with that, at least the visual form, like talk shows, videos, movies, because standard books cannot integrate all of that colloquial aspects of the language. It's about lots of colloquials, slangs. It's about the speaking features of the speakers, and that you can't find in the book unless you watch it in the movie. There's lots of referencing, by the way, when you're talking with your colleagues or friends. They start referencing from the one movie, so you should understand. They cite their quotes. In order to understand, you need to watch, you need to enlarge your lexis. So here's the typical assignment that is allocated for the students, grade 10. Like, as you see, it's like mostly digital focus. Explore blogging. Create a grammar meme that illustrates a rule you think is important to remember. So you remember at first I just highlighted the importance of memes, right? So meme is like, if you try to be creative enough, what they evaluate more about you, as such, it's your creativity. How you can approach the matter in your way, not like the way they ask you to learn the rule by the books. You should be creative enough, you should show yourself, you should showcase your skills, whether you're good at drawing or writing poems or reading or making films. It's everything that is part of the portfolio that they try assess about you. Blog, for example, grammar review, academic honesty. This is one most highlighted attribute of the students, like plagiarism, what they can't tolerate. It's called intellectual theft. If you use someone's word, if you use someone's essay, it's called plagiarism without citing it. You can read the books, you can include them, but you should cite them. There's the rule, like you'll show the source, where did you use this source, and you'll try to define it from your own perspective. Like, I read this article in this blog and I think he's right, or I think he's somehow, I partly disagree with that author of the ideas, like that. So it's about your opinion, but try to integrate someone's idea by citing them, by giving credits to them. It's called like respect to that work of the author. It's like copywriting. So if you just give it directly without brackets, it's called plagiarism. And I think so far that's all about I wanted to talk. Let me see whether I can connect Google Forms. Have you tried the Google Forms, or should I share it here? Just a minute. So let's see our your responses about. I don't have any responses, so you couldn't connect that? So guys, I'll try to share the link one more time. Can you try to do this quiz so I can see how well you know that Canadian slangs? Oh, it went perfectly, I'm sorry. So can you see this form in the chat? No? Then it was not fun. Well, we'll do it together, Zach. I could use the poll here. So, can you see my screen? You know about the CanXA? This is so typical of the Canadians. They use the A as the meaning of the right. Do you agree with me? So Canadians are used as Canucks as a slang word. So let's start. The Independence Day of Canada. Share your answer. July 1st. Great job. We did good. Next one. What do they call coffee with 2 creams and 2 sugars? Cappuccino? It's called double. So when you go to Tim Hortons, Timmy's, or McDonald's, when you go, you should expect like people saying that I want double, please. Double is like they add to your coffee 2 sugars instead of 1, 2 creams instead of 1. Therefore, it's called double. It's not the like flustering that you're just having to repeat the word. It's just that they try to play on the word double. Or you want to order the burger with the 2 meats in it, right? You'll say, I'd rather have double. Okay. So they have not only paper money, still the coins are in use. So what do they call $1? Loonie or toonie? An answer? You can see them? Really? I'll share the screen. How come? Thank you. So can move down. Thank you, Abrojon, Islam John directing me. So $1 is loonie. The reason is why it's called loonie because there was the animal that's stamped on the coin. If it's $2, they call it toonie. Okay, next one. Took. Took stands for the first question. Took. What do you think?
Can I just hear? I think you need to scroll down the screen so we can see.
Okay. Can you see it now? The screen is big enough for me. Sorry. So is it visible? Can you see it now?
We still can't see the first 2 questions. Yeah, now it's working. Cool. Okay.
So, how come you can't click the link? Should I scroll down? Continue to scroll down?
Yes, a little bit more. Yeah, we can see question number 3 and 4, now 5.
Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm. So you decide to share your answer all together, or you're writing it now, guys? Okay, no idea is not in the option. Try to choose one of them. So as you see, I registered down the versions, right? And the last hitch that you should overcome today. Great. So can we do it now? Yeah, I'm always impatient to allocate the time sensibly. Hi. Okay, let's start. So the Independence Day of Canada is on 1st of July. Recently, we celebrated it online, virtually. 155-year-old. So Canada is not that old as USA. So 1st of July, this is US Independence Day. Double double, we mentioned it, right? Two, whatever you have with the two, it's regarding only food and beverage, by the way. You call it double double. $1, they call it loonie. There used to be the coins. Now it's out of use already. And there was that animal loons stamp on it, and they call it loonie. Gradually, the $2 get the name two, and loonie assimilated into one, became toonie. So took is the cap. The one you saw the animal moose, right? The one with a cap with the long ears of that moose is called the toque. So it's not the building, unfortunately. Poutine is the one of the best delicious food I ever tried here. This French fries with cheesy and gravy. I tried to make it by myself too, but I failed, unfortunately. So it is so great, so delicate to try. Unlike that fries, the old taste comes with that moist of that cheese curd, crust, and gravy. So it's not the donuts with flavor. I'm sorry. Donuts are donuts. They are called the same. The one that I decided to pick up and include here is the icing sugar. That it's powdered granulated sugar. And they call it as icing too, by the way. That really freaks me out. Like, I didn't get the word icing. Icing sugar is like actually sugar, but the granulated one, the powdered one. So let's have pops. Doesn't mean that let's listen something that regarding the pop music. Pop is about soda or drink that you call the fizzy drinks. This is the soda or pop. Kilometers. They use the word kilometers, but in shortened form, and it's called clicks. Not the feet. Feet is the British style. And Canucks or Canadians have their own vocabulary for the words like sneakers that you use to wear outside as a footwear are called runners. Candy bar, to my great surprise, I call chocolate bar. Parking decks or parking lots where you park your car are called parkouts. And kerfuffle is disagreement. For example, yesterday I had a bit kerfuffle with my friends or colleague or with my parents. Like there was fuss between us. This is called kerfuffle. Okay, let me see my results. I didn't do one of them. Oh, I'm sorry. I missed the seventh one. There's the slang. While driving, if they ask you to take turn left or take turn right, they use hang a Larry and hang a Roger. If it's left, it's Larry. Because left and Larry, that makes sense. Yes, first initials. But if they mean right, they say Roger. Roger is so common sense here, like Rogers, Rogers Stadium, Rogers Communication, everything is going to be Roger. Maybe therefore, instead of right, they say like hang a Roger. So that was all about today's quiz that you need to know about English. Now let's move to Q&A session. So I'll try to answer the questions that I can manage. Yeah, I missed the seventh. Seventh was about taking turns, right? Now, could I clarify it? What is it about? Situation now in Canada. So you know that there was lockdown for a long time, but it didn't mean that you shouldn't leave the border of your house. You still could travel, but as long as you are wearing masks and keeping all the distance. But yes, still the life, everything is going at a slow pace. Only non-essential workers can work outside. The rest of that all enterprises and people of the different expertise, they transform to online, to remote working, and somehow this is good. The perk, blessing in disguise, you can have more me time, spare time about yourself. But the only thing that it's about your time management. You'll get obsessed with, and you can't properly manage the time, and somehow it gets monotonous. That when you're at home all the time, right? So this is what I wanted to say. First one is pancake, yeah. But the reason why I posted that picture is because of maple syrup that they used to drizzle over it. COVID-19. Yeah, there are cases still, including the deaths, but regarding the cases or number of that has been reported through the mass media is relatively few than other countries. So it's pandemic. So all over the world, you could expect the same situation, but not that drastic consequences like happened in China or Italy. Nature is awesome, mesmerizing, scenic, beautiful, mind-blowing. So you can use all adjectives to grade that. This is so beautiful. I love the nature. Beaver, yeah, that was right. So now you know that why they cherish this animal. They try to represent their personality too, saying that like we also that big in terms of like opportunities and power, but still it doesn't go to our head. Like we are still moderate and polite. And beaver has that trait that it could survive the harsh climate cold and can pass its way. This is what applies about the Canadians too. Maple syrup, right? What I know is it's in the north. Yeah, same about me. I knew the three notions. That it's the north, it's the second biggest country, and Niagara. But before moving to, I understood that I need to do research. I need to be aware enough how to start, what to expect. So it's not to have the culture shock, so it's not to be depressed or sad if the things didn't get the way I wanted or I had the hurdles. So I do recommend you to do the research before coming. What you are going to do, what should you expect, what is different, and what is similar, so as to pitch your interest, your expectation to that real scenario. Traditional. Okay, I think it was that quiz answers, right? Share the photo. Which photos you meant? Is screen sharing? How can we got there? The question. There are lots of ways. I'll share the link to the chat now if it's applicable, and I'll try to attach the documents. So you'll go to that Canadian government site. Basically, the ways are sponsorship, student visa. You can get employment like as federal skilled worker. Express entry, it's called. For that, you need to earn the points. For each points, like your English fluency, like having IELTS give you points. Your work experience, like the more accolades you can attach, like your degree, credentials, your English fluency is higher, the higher would be your score, of course. Everyone is talking about the COVID-19 currently mass media. Why would you like to know about that? Let's talk about something more, yes, the positive vibes, right? How is it different from Tashkent or Uzbekistan? Well, it is different. Therefore, it's called Canada, right? No, in terms of business opportunities, in terms of lifestyle, I can say that there is huge disparity. Here, for example, Tashkent, I like the Tashkent because in terms of job opportunities, I was like very successful. I could land the jobs easily. And the biggest difference, I guess, here, the skills you used to have as your perk priority in Tashkent is here basic survival skills. For example, if you know English really well, you can find the better jobs, even be employed at international enterprise, right? In Tashkent. In Canada, you have to know to survive. That's all. Your experience speaks less about you because here you can't relate it. It's not Canadian experience. What speaks about you, it's your portfolio or what have you done. This is the reason why I started vlogging. This is the reason why I started volunteering, to show that I can teach, to show that they can see my capability and potential about the work that I intend to do. And lifestyle, Tashkent is beautiful. One of the most beautiful cities in Uzbekistan, but here the landscape scenic view is much more beautiful. The wildlife is so great and broad. And what I like about Cambridge, it reminds of me UK, real Cambridge, that once I had a trip and still I couldn't forget, and once in a lifetime opportunity. This is the architecture, medieval style, like Gothic style, that brings that environment that you can feel. And if you are interested in modern life, like more hectic, like New York type, you should travel to Toronto, where lots of skyscrapers and high buildings, more busy people, and more celebrities you can encounter if you're lucky enough. Because Toronto, usually what I understood here, I realized here that there is the fact that because New York is so expensive to rent, most of the cinemas, even the setting depicts New York in the movie, are shot here. For example, my favorite series, TV show Suits, were shot here, and I went that building to see because I'm a huge fan of suits. After entering university, can you describe the order to enter? So as I told you, it depends what you are going to study. Is it bachelor's degree or master's of art, MA or MS? If it's like MS or MA, so they ask you to nostrificate or accredit your diplomas through that site to endorse your credentials. And you should prove your fluency, like having international standard tests like TOEFL, IELTS, they have requirements at least. But here you should take into consideration that overall score does speak less about you. You should pay attention in each separate skill: listening, writing, reading, and speaking. Mostly writing is highly valued because of academic setting. All your assignments, course are heavily based on writing assignments and the research skills, note-taking skills. So therefore, they especially pay attention to your writing score. So if you want to be successful and have priority over other candidates, try to improve your writing skills. Don't ignore that one. And don't try to have the holistic high score overall, rather than declining, brush up every skill independently and making it the better. So I do recommend to pay more attention in your writing skills. And how can you improve it? By writing a lot. The reason why we all tend to have problems with our writing because we listen a lot. We watch movies, we listen to the music, we communicate, we converse with everyone, we interact, but we never write. If you don't write, you can't learn, you can't brush up those skills. For writing, you have two actually barriers. The first, linguistic barrier. The second is mindset or concept. You can't write because you don't have idea. You can read the different sources like Telegraph, Conversation, it's like US Canadian mass media type, where they try to speak on different topics, issues, mostly acute, current, global problems. So where you can study about the research, about scientific ideas, and it is about your proposing solution, identifying the problem, and giving your opinion. Pretty stuff. Yeah, it's cold in winter. It's so harsh, crazy. You can't believe it, but I haven't been outside for a month during the winter. Educational system. Educational system, as I told you, this is teacher. The word teacher is most generic currently. They use the word facilitator because facilitate, it means to help, to support students. They don't try to teach, they help to guide you about the matter, and you are expected to learn autonomously. It's the most self-study, most about research skills. Research skills, you can see even everyday trivial life of Canadian people. If they want to buy something at the grocery store or online, they do research. What kind of research? They read the comments, feedbacks of other people. They try to learn more information about the current self-commodity, and then they decide to buy. This is also part of the research that you need to acquire. Average salary for foreigners. That's what I mentioned, like it's about equity. There's no like white supremacy that local people or white people earn higher than the foreigners. It's about your experience, expertise level. As a foreigner, no doubt you start with entry position, right? Because you don't have experience here. So entry position, you'll earn the minimum wage, lower salary, but once you just have enough experience and you can do work better than their expectations, then they can give the promotion or at least salary increments. Average must be like $24 per day, because minimum is $14 in Ontario region, but it differs again according to the region you are going to work. Agencies like, can I believe them? You know, there are different agencies that are offering their work For example, for our sponsorship, the lawyer I found asked to pay $4,000 to fill in application, but we decided to do it by ourselves. If you do research enough, if you are sure, content to do it professionally without mistake. But if you're not sure, of course, I do recommend to use the service, but with the secured sites, secured logo. You should read like the feedbacks, and of course that the people in their expertise, they always give the accolade, like they should be at least at paralegal status or lawyer to give you practical advice about that. But still, they don't guarantee the output. It is defined by the criteria of that selection board panelists. Yeah, I know. I don't know why the link didn't work. Sorry for that. So it's technical glitch. This is why still traditional classroom setting beats the online one, right? Yes, I didn't know when we talked about that, but okay, yes, no. We had a poll. Yes. Is that all? How well are women's rights protected in Canada? Gender equality, women's rights, both at household and in working setting are well protected. Equality are promoted here, but still they're trying to promote the women more, especially about their career in terms of technical skills. So women are confident enough, independent, as they quote themselves. What else can I say? Even the flirting might be considered sexual assault. So yeah, I can say that there's not like the most important difference when I was asked about Tashkent and my life here in Canada. For job interviews that I used to have in Tashkent, it was the like basic, indispensable part of any conversation. Like, are you married? Are you going to have a child? And they were like, so it's face-threatening act. It's not polite. It's so rude to ask about that, but they wanted to secure that I don't leave my job right before they plan to sign the contract. But here, you won't have this kind of impolite questions. So they're professional enough and they have pragmatic approach to ask you to sign the contract and to know about your future plans. Poppy soda, yeah, no, good. Snickers, no, Snickers is the US version. Great job. So thanks if you get a job from Canada. Working visa, there are different ways to acquire your visa, right? But usually this all starts minimum from 6 months because the procedure is long. It's like inserting all details, compiling the materials, getting confirmation. In case of Uzbekistan, because we don't have embassy in Uzbekistan, Canadian embassy, the consulate doesn't deal with that problems. You need to travel to Kazakhstan or Tajikistan or Russia or Turkey to submit your visa documents, original documents. And whenever it's about submission, I do recommend Kazakhstan in terms of saving time and money. Yeah, master students can work. They will have their work permit. PhD students, whatever your degree, you can find a job, but it requires a time. So the higher your degree, the more opportunity you have to choose and be selective about salary and your career opportunities. But still, you need to do research and pass that procedure I mentioned about, like CV, impression, interview, and the trial period. How can I find so I can read this one? Just message me or Facebook me. I'm active social network site user. It's been, I guess, half a year. I moved in January here. Is it difficult to work as caregiver there? You mean au pair, right? I don't know. I never researched on that. Must be. So you should do your research. Just Google it, read the comments. People always try to share their personal experience. There are special websites like Arriving or Meetup where the newcomers come and start sharing their experience, how to start, what to do. Webster MA diploma, as I understood, offers 30 credentials. You need 63 to fully acknowledge it as a master's degree diploma. Otherwise, they ask you to continue your studies. So therefore, consider that point. This is why you need to use that WES service. WES is World Education Services. They try to write equivalency to the Canadian degree, and they say the missing points, like what subjects were not involved in the curriculum you had and what subjects you need to have in order to earn all the full credits. Blogger Farhad Faisalov? No, I didn't. So what he's talking about, what he's blogging about. So I'm not that active to follow the bloggers' life, but recently I started my vlogs. Maybe later on I'll stretch my comfort zone more to learn about that. So I think this is all questions, right? I just shared the statistics, right? For more, you can say, you can Google that to understand like how much is expenditure, and you should indicate in your visa process to get. So at least, okay, per month students expenditure as it's indicated at the statistics is $1,000. So if you don't indicate it enough, that helps you to sustain here without the job you're going to have, then you'll have the positive confirmation about your visa. So that was all, guys. I hope I could give the information in my knowledge scope, because still, for every point that you are going to talk or elaborate on, you should do research without just relying on the hearsay. Do research, read about others, learn what you should do, and it would help you. It would be much easier for you, and you save your nerves and time, as I mentioned above. So that was all. Thank you very much. Can we wrap it up?
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much, Fatima, for such an insightful, informative webinar.
Thank you.
I think after this webinar, we are all going to pack our I do remember your time here. You were dealing with documents for a very long time.
You remember my old frustration, right?
I do remember, yes. I do remember you were collecting, you were translating, you were sending, you were waiting. Yeah, it took I think a whole year, if maybe more. But yeah, there's no quick kind of solution to whatever we do. And here you are, all of a sudden in Canada. It seems like
well, you know what I noticed, like
yesterday, and all of
here,
Uzbekistan.
Uzbekistan is like less known because I guess few Uzbeks have been here. At first, it's difficult, but once we pave our way, we start building our community like other nations. Not only to work for survival jobs, like be professional enough to sustain. I think this is rewarding. Nothing is easy at first. you will have hits, right? Hurdles. But once you overcome, yeah, it's so rewarding. It's gratifying to be here. I like to be here. It feels like home. Can you hear me, guys? Thank you too.
Okay.
I'll score with
definitely.
TLB5. TLB5, I think it's IELTS 3 or 4 because it's the beginning of the intermediate. Sure, you can. Yes. You can find me in Facebook, Fatima Hambureva, or Instagram. So I try to help the way I know and I can. Sorry, there was like further thread of questions I didn't notice.
Yeah, no problem. I will be sharing your profile if you don't mind on our groups. I mean, maybe we have Speaking Club, not many people, sure. So you won't be bombarded with unknown friend requests. I will share your YouTube channel as well. Maybe they might contact you through YouTube as well.
Thank you.
It's been great pleasure. Nice to see you again. And let's
virtually.
I think yes. You need a round of applause. Unfortunately, you cannot hear the applauses, but you can just feel it.
It's okay. I'm feeling it. I have a sense of that. Yeah, how moderate I am to ask for applause, right?
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Yeah. Okay. And we wish you to have a good day, and I wish everyone to have a good evening. And hopefully we'll see you guys again in our next webinars. So we'll have some more speakers like Fatima, who can be inspiration and motivation for us all in achieving their goals and dreams. So yeah, let's keep in touch. I think it's time to say goodbye.
Sweet dreams. Have a good night. Thank you for coming, joining us one more time. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Stay tuned.